Reduced performance, engine system, reduced performance. I am out of power right now. Hey everyone, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. And as you can see from the title, we've got a 2020 Volvo V60 T8 Polestar here. That's with their plug-in hybrid electrified powertrain. And if you can see on the dash, we've got 11 miles of EV range left and 10 miles of gas range. I was driving this car along a lot this weekend, and I got to thinking, what would happen if the car ran out of gas? And I've always kind of wondered this with hybrid vehicles, and I know people have done tests on it before, but I wanted to experiment for myself, specifically with Volvo's T8 powertrain. If we've got enough juice to run the car in electric mode, what happens if it runs out of dyno juice? So, we're going to find that out today. Got the camera on my forehead. Let's go run this out of gas. Before we do, hop out and take a quick look at the car. So this is Volvo's top dog boss wagon. 400 horsepower, hybrid powertrain, Owen shocks. It's a little dirty right now from all the bugs we accumulated on our road trip out to Pittsburgh. But what an excellent car this has been for that trip. It can do practical, it can do city driving, it can do backroads driving, it's comfort, it's luxurious, it's really got it all. I love it. But today we're focusing on one and one thing only. If you'd like to see the full review, we'll link to that in the description. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the car around in Volvo's charge mode. So it has two battery maintenance modes. You've got hold, which will keep the hybrid battery at whatever state of charge it's at. So if I were to put it on now, it would just keep the hybrid battery at 11 miles, just over half. But if you put it into charge, it uses up gasoline to charge up the battery. And I'm curious about a few different things. One, I'm curious if it'll even activate with such a low amount of fuel left. I mean, I have no bars left on my fuel gauge. It is completely empty here in the digital readout. And I've been on 10 miles for a little while now. So I'm curious if it'll even engage charge mode, and then I'm curious if it'll just run that until it runs out of gas. And then after that, I'm curious if the car will continue to drive on electric power only without having any gasoline left. If not, I guess I'll be calling up someone to bring me out a can of fuel. So let's get started. Engine fires right up. When you're driving around in charge mode, it doesn't use any battery to propel the vehicle. So even when you go full throttle, it's all engine. It's pretty much acting like a T6 Volvo. So I'm not going to do too much talking while I drive because I want to hear if the car makes any weird sort of sounds. Any sputters or clunks or anything like that as it starts to run dry. The car is notably less responsive when you're driving in charge mode because it's not getting that extra assistance from the battery at all. Still plenty quick though, that's for sure. Now there are a few different drive modes that I could be using. We've got constant all-wheel drive, pure, hybrid, individual, and Polestar engineered. I considered using all-time all-wheel drive or Polestar mode to sort of suck the gas down a little quicker, but I kind of just want to know what happens in its normal mode. If you were just driving along here and forgot to get gas, were oblivious, weren't paying attention, something like that, what would happen in normal hybrid mode? So that's where we'll leave it. It'll also be interesting to see how far it goes on 10 miles of range. I mean, I'm trying not to drive it too easy, but I know that cruising along at 45, 50 miles per hour is just about the most efficient you can be. But I don't exactly want to go on the highway or in dense city roads for fear of running out of gas. Still haven't gained any range in EV, which is a little bit surprising. Charge mode typically works pretty quickly, so I wonder if maybe it's being a tad bit more efficient in that regard, not using up as much gasoline. Oh, we are up to 12 miles of electricity now. Yay! Oh, just got a stutter. Yep, there's 2 stutters. Reduced performance, engine system, reduced performance. I am out of power right now. I'm going 45, I can barely move. Max vehicle speed limited. So it looks like I'm able to maintain 45 miles per hour. Still says I have 10 miles of fuel left. So what happens now if I take it out of charge mode? I got a cute little turtle on there as well. Okay, so the engine is off now, but my speed is still limited even in EV. Acceleration performance limited, max vehicle performance limited. Okay, so we got something. So let's drive up this way. Let's see how fast we can go. So this is all electric right now. So it looks like some sort of limp mode. It looks like my max speed is 45 miles per hour. I'm pushing, my foot is on the floor right now. Can't go any faster. So I'm actually going to pull into, well, I'll go up to this stoplight up here. Speed limit's 50 here, so that's close enough. Now I'm going to try switching into pure. I have plenty of pull, but it caps me at 45 miles per hour. What's crazy is that it still says I have 10 miles of fuel range. Like, do they understand what that means? Okay, what I'm going to try to do is turn off the car, turn it back on, and see what we've got. Try to park in a way that you guys can see the gauge, but it's really tough in the sunshine. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. So this is what we got right now. Reduced performance, max vehicle speed limited, and reduced performance, acceleration performance reduced. Engine system, reduced performance. That is it. So I've got reduced performance, and engine system. Okay, off. Door open. Close. Start. Engine fires up. Listen to that. Now we've got 0 miles left on range. And the engine is sputtering hard. I'm gonna try to be really quiet so hopefully you guys can hear that. Oh, do not like the sound of that at all. It hurts me to be doing this. Let's get out of here and get to a gas station, shall we? The engine is still running, which is beyond me. I don't understand why it doesn't just shut off. I've got it in pure mode, so let's try it. I'm gonna shut it off again. Engine fires up. So even though it doesn't indicate it on the dash, I'm definitely using electric power right now. You can just tell by the way it's driving. And there I am, limited at 45. How interesting. So this is probably the way I would want it to work, honestly. If I owned this car, there we go. Engine stops trying to run. I'm on battery only now. This is how I would want it if I owned this car. I would want it to just go into EV only and limit me in speed to maximize the distance I have to get to a gas station. Got some traffic coming up on me, so I'm actually going to turn into here, let them go by. Car's running fine now that the engine's off. It's all just electric. Still have plenty of safe get up and go, but it just totally dies out at 45 miles per hour. Now typically the electric motor is powerful enough to get this car up to highway speeds without even using the engine, so it's really not having to try at all just to keep the car at 45. But I am down to 10 miles of EV and no indicated miles of gas. Sounds about right. All right, let's get some gas in here and see what happens. All right, moment of truth. Starting it back up. Hey! Listen to that. It's running smooth again. Huh. Well, isn't that something? It's still not happy about that. It says 523, so it did have some reduced performance there at the beginning because it hadn't quite gotten the gas into the pump and into the engine and everything, but now we do appear to be running smoothly. So that's not a huge surprise, I suppose. I mean, it's not like I was expecting more of some big pomp and circumstance, but that's pretty much what I would want to happen. I guess the only things that would be worse is if the entire car shut down, even though I had battery remaining. Or if it had some really bad limp mode where like it was unsafe to get into traffic or anything. But to be able to cruise at 45 miles per hour on my battery, I think that was a good way to handle it. So we're gonna pull into this lot here. I'm gonna shut it off, start it back up, see if it has any issues with that. Okay, car status seems to be clear. Not getting anything yet. Engine seems to be operating as normal. And we're back. I guess that's what it takes when you run down a V60. Or I should say any Volvo T8 powertrain, I would imagine, would act about the same. Cool. Well, thanks for coming along on this little mini adventure with us. If you're interested more about the V60 T8, we're going to be doing a full review on this car later today, as well as a sound system test on its Bowers & Wilkins audio system. So check those out. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed. Check out our other content, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor. Drive on.